So inshallah, this is purely for parents and adults. I have not kept children in my mind for this, because I wanted children, parents to see the side of life that I see sometimes. So first of all, what I wanted to say is, this era, this 21st century, so much of digitalization, so much of social media, so much of accessibility to things, lots of things do happen. So I am going to talk more about, as a mother, as a parent, as a doctor, and what I see every day, mostly as a doctor. And I would first give you the things that I come across on my gloomiest day, on the days I have more tears than happiness and more sorrow, because usually I'm an obstetrician, so I see more happiness when couples get pregnant, I deliver babies, I'm very happy. So this is about the other side of my life, where I do see things that I wish I didn't see, I hear things which I wish I never heard. And they are children, they are children that I see, and they are, even if they are adults, they are once upon a time a child and who became an adult. And then I always wonder, is there things that I can do as a parent, what can I do as an adult, so that this child could have had a different outcome, a different life, a different future. So the stories that I'm going to tell you are little incidences, which are all first-hand stories, which I came across with my own patients. And all of the stories will have a little something that could have changed, so that the life for them would have been different. So this is for the Children's Day. And I think Islamic point of view, another speaker has already talked about Islamic rights of a child, as a child, the right that they have. And these stories will remind us in a more, maybe they are a bit gloomy to start off with. That is why I kept this program for only for adults, not for children. But again, they are children, they are teenagers, they are grown-ups. But again, their childhood events could have changed, so that they could have had a better, a different outcome in one sense. So I will go through all of my little stories one by one, so that while I go through, I will give you the background story for them, their life as well. So all of us will kind of understand the things they would go through. I sincerely hope everyone can hear me, inshallah, and see me as well. My first story is about a little 7-year-old boy who routinely goes to school in a school van. He was dropped off. He usually gets dropped off at the top of the lane, where he walks down to the house, and mother always waits at the door. One fine day he comes out, and he walks down, and then suddenly he's been taken into one of the by lanes by boys, a slightly 1 or 2 year old, maybe let's say about 10-12-year-olds, into an alleyway. And he was in one sense abused, kind of physically, by these boys who are so-called his friends or his brothers of his friends. And eventually the boy became very withdrawn. He wouldn't talk to anyone about what happened. He's a very bright child, and they are kids of his own or just slightly above his age. So again, children and children. There's no adult in this story at all. So whatever happened, the adult boys are the ones who did things that shouldn't be done to another child, or for anyone for that matter. And another more sad and shocking story is, I met a 7-8-year-old girl who was brought in by her mommy because she wanted me to examine the child. The reason being that she was abused by her 12-year-old elder brother, her own brother, no one else, her own brother. So this has happened in the house. when nobody was there, and then when I was talking to them, and when I was finding out what really could have triggered this little another child to do something to his own sister, then I realized that he's always on the phone. He is very much into phones. He watches phones. So everybody thought he was just playing Candy Crush and he's playing games on the phone. But to see, he has been watching pornography. So that was very easily accessible. Nobody knew that he was watching, and that was the only thing that he was doing. So again, it's again about children. So he had accessibility. The previous story is again about children. Children committing crimes or abuse against children. And so then you come to think of it. I have worked in Europe, in UK before I came to Sri Lanka. So all my stories, their context will be a bit different because different parts of the world, the normality is different, social acceptance is different, social layout is different, family norms are different, cultural norms are different, and even accessibility to other social services, other networks are very different. So then I was in the clinic one day, and I get a I think she was 13 or 14-year-old. She came. She was very straightforward, appeared very confident, and she came and asked me, doctor, I am in a relationship. She's at 13, and I think I need contraception. Would you prescribe me oral contraception? So then again, she was very confident that I will not be going and telling her parents. I will not be going and telling, because as I was telling you, the way you practice in two different parts of the world are very different. So when these kids are more confident and they know what is good and bad, they understand what is their rights, and they are more self-confident and more arrogant in little ways to say, I have the right to request for this. It is my rights. And so that is one side of it. At the same time, I have had couples where 13-year-old girl and a 14-year-old boy supposedly living together. And they came because they wanted to find out whether she was pregnant or not. So these are my sad or my gloomy days, where I think for a moment, where is the child in all these little children I see? What happened to the child? Where is the child lost? And then I get stories from parents. So one parent came and told me, again, she brought in her daughter. I think she was about 10. The same school van scenario where she goes to school on a van, comes back, and one day usually she's the last in the school van. So one day she has just slept in the van, and then when she woke up, her dresses were removed. She was drowsy and all. And to see ultimately the driver or the conductor of that van has given something for her to eat. She was just a child. She didn't know. She just ate and she fell asleep in the bus or the school van. And these are the children that I see. And I see children and I see adults who come out of this. Sometimes I get grown-ups who I see their past as a child. So I have couples who come trying for a baby and they can't have a baby, and I get stories from these couples when I look into their own life. So I got one couple who were trying so much to have a baby, but they were not. They said, doctor, we are married for 3-4 years and we are trying to have a baby, doctor, it's not happening. So as I would always ask, I was asking for the rest of the history, and I was asking, by the way, how is your sex life? How many times do you have sex if you are trying for a baby? Then the answer I get is from the wife is, he's not interested, doctor. Then I said, how come you're interested? You all are trying for a baby. Then she said, yeah, doctor, but he doesn't feel like it. He doesn't want to do it. Then I said, why? What is the reason? Why? Then he tells me, doctor, I'm so much. Then I realize that he is always into watching pornography on his phone, on the laptop. So in the night she'll go to sleep and he will continuously watch. So his interaction with a woman is only on the screen. So there is no interest for him at all to do anything with his wife. So he has no intimacy as such with his wife. There's no relationship, no intimacy at all. The only thing he's happy is by watching these movies. But their question for me was, we want to get pregnant and we want to have a baby. So then when I ask and when I prod along, then he says, yeah, doctor, along the time, because there was so much of stress at work, there was so much of stress at that and this, doctor, I this is only my way of stress relief. Now I'm hooked onto it. I can't come out of it. So I am like this, doctor. This is what I do, and I can't do it. And then you realize these are children who came along during their teenage, school age, when they started working, and then this is what their habit was. Then another couple comes along, and I hear a different, slightly different story, where the parents used to fight all the time, all the time. So he just couldn't tolerate parents fighting. His only resort, his comfort was watching these movies. So they came to the similar thing. They also came and said, doctor, we want to have a baby. But to see, they are not even together to have a baby. So his thing was, there was too much of stress in the house, doctor. I could not tolerate. My parents were fighting all the time. I wanted a way out. So this is my way out. This is how I feel that I am comforted. I have a little zone, little privacy. This is my haven where I feel safe. And then these are again, he's a child. He was a child. He got into this in his early teenage years, and then he carried on doing this even into his adult life. And all these, and then I have some couples who come and say, doctor, they have problems. All of them come because they want to have a baby, or they all come with a similar thing, but their problems are so diverse and so different. So the couple that I met, they have problems in communication. They just can't talk to each other. There's no healthy adult communication between the two of them. There's no intimacy. There is no relationship. To see what has happened in his life, he's the youngest in the family. So all the attention was always towards his elder siblings. The parents always said, your elder sister is doing that, your younger sister, your eldest son, brother is doing this. So they were always petted towards their elders, and the younger one was always got neglected. I think I'm just going to get a single minute of a break. Sorry. Hello? Naveen. I'll call you back, Naveen. Emergency, give me 1 second. I'll call you back. Huh? Okay. Sorry. So his only way out is because he was so stressed at home, he didn't know what to do. So he resorted to playing games. It's the opposite of the other guy that I just told you. He would lock himself up in the room 24 hours. He would play non-stop games. So the only thing he knew for his comfort again was gaming. He was gaming all throughout his teenage life, his adult life. He would go to work. He'll come back straight to his room, start gaming till the next day morning, and he'll get up and go to work. He never slept. There was no communication for him with his parents, neither with his siblings. Now he's married and he has no communication with his wife. He doesn't even know how to hold a conversation. There's no social skills for him. So they were having trouble with their marriage. And they did fall pregnant, and they did deliver a baby. And still, even after that, she could not find the emotional support from him. It was so difficult for her to manage him. So there were issues all throughout from the time they got married, even after having babies. And another couple comes along where their issue was similar to the guy I said about gaming, but this guy is again into his computers. He was 24/7 with his computer. He would either game or he would either watch some movies, especially porn. So whatever he watches, everything that his communication was with digital world. There was no humanly conversations with him. So there was no human touch, no talking with his wife. There's no intimacy again. When he feels like it, they just have casual sex. So it was more casual sex than there was no making love. There was no creating love. There's nothing. So all these are young teenagers who were at some point pulled into this world, where for comfort into pornography, comfort for gaming, comfort for into digital media, where they had all this. So there was no communication skills at all among these individuals. Then I see couples. So these are the ones who come after wanting to have babies. Similar couples come along, same thing. Where as teenagers, when I do sperm counts and I say, oh God, the sperm counts are so bad. Are you smoking? Are you drinking? Then they start saying, yes, doctor. As a child, we had friends and we started little smoking with cigarette. We did it when we were 12, 13. Then we got together and we smoked more. Then we moved on to weed. We moved on to this. And still the same thing is happening. And over the years, the damage has happened. Now their ability to reproduce is affected. Their sperms are affected. So all these are happening as again being children. Then I hope you all understand why I'm giving all this, because I want you to understand what our children in this world are going through from my side of my perspective. And then I will tell you what I think inshallah we can do. And then I have this I came across couples who come and tell me, especially the husband came one day on his own. I normally don't see men in my clinic. It's either a couple or a woman. So he put an appointment for himself. He came to see me. He said, doctor, I'm so sorry I'm coming to see you. And I said, I don't see men. Why did you come to see me? Then he said, doctor, this is, she used to live outside Sri Lanka, and they were talking on the phone. They did all that. And then we had telephone sex, doctor. We were always on long distance relationship. We had telephone sex. We did everything, doctor. Now she's here in Sri Lanka and she's here with me, and I do not know what to do. I don't know how to proceed. I don't know how I can be intimate, because I just don't know, doctor. I think I have lost it. I don't feel anything towards her. Only on the phone, when we were far away, we had everything. Our relationship was perfect, doctor. Now it's lost. I really don't know what to do. So this is one side of it. And I have children. I get called saying that there are so many children in their teens, especially in O levels and A levels, who are having relationship among them, gay relationships between children in school, gay relationship between kids in school. And it is principals have told me, teachers have told me, and they just don't know what to do. So these are things that happens in our schools. I don't think whether this is a third world country or a European country or developing country makes a difference. These are children who, as you come along, as I talk along, you will understand, have access to lots of things equally everywhere. And then you go to these kids' parties, and the first thing that is served are cakes laced with either heroin or something they have mixed in the juice or punch. All these are happening in simple school parties. They are served within the schools. And these are, again, goes under the radar sometimes. Sometimes they are found and disciplinary actions are taken, but still these things do happen. And then I have these, once I got a lady who came and gave me loads of complaints, starting from abdominal pain to feeling depressed to aches and pains. So she had multiple complaints. I couldn't fix what is she coming at. Then I realized how depressed she was and how upset she was with her life. So she tells me, doctor, when I prodded, when I asked her what is happening, what is bothering you, what's the stress that's happening in your life, then she comes up and says, doctor, I saw my husband on the Facebook. He's chatting with another woman on the Facebook. I am a niqabi, doctor. I am fully covered, but he talks to some other woman, and strangely, it was another another covered woman doctor, and they are having a relationship apart from our marriage life. They are having a relationship. She's married as well, doctor, but this is going on, and I don't seem to be able to get him out of the relationship. I can't break this relationship. I don't know what to do, doctor. So that was her stress. She was utterly depressed. She was lost. She didn't know how to communicate. She didn't know who to go and tell. She didn't know how to break it. She had children of her own as well. So these are the things that, being adult, they are sucked into this media where they are victims on their own, not just our children. And again, then I had a 15-year-old young girl, pretty girl, who came and said, Mommy was complaining that she's not studying, she's very low in her mood, she's very depressed looking, and she needs medication, and all this. And then they have sent her to me saying, well, to see whether there are any other problems that I could find. So when I was talking to her, she tells me, Doctor, I'm very upset the way I look because I don't think I'm pretty, doctor. She's a 15-year-old pretty slim girl. And then she tells me, no, doctor, I'm not pretty. I think I have put on weight. Weight, she's perfect weight, if you ask me. But then she's telling me, no, doctor, I'm not the exact weight, doctor. There's something wrong. Everybody in my class says I'm fat. Because in their class, they have this specific weight category for these 13, 14-year-olds. According to their weight category, she's fat. So she's trying to lose weight, and parents are saying, no, she needs to eat well, she needs to do things. But for her, her body image was wrong. She looked at herself and thought, there's something wrong with me. This is not me. I'm ugly. Everyone says I'm ugly. Everyone says I am fat. So I need to get slimmer. So that was her problem. So then again, it's from her friends and her peers. I met another 17-year-old who came with her sister. So she came and said, Doctor, I think something is wrong with myself. I found I have an extra piece in my body and I don't look pretty there. So to see, she thought thinks that her vulva or the outside female genital area, she thinks there's something not right. So what she has seen in pictures, she has Googled, she has found out different vulvas, and she said, no, doctor, it should be perfectly symmetrical. It should be nice and trimmed off. Look at me, doctor. One side is so big, the other one is so small. I don't look right. And if I think I'm not right, doctor. There's something wrong. You need to correct me. I need to be as pretty as the picture shows on the internet. So for her, the internet portrayed a woman's outside genitals as a symmetrical, pretty, Barbie doll, polished look. So this is what she thinks is normal. So she's telling me, no, something is wrong with me. This is not normal for me. So she was anyway, she was upset. And I have had kids, teenagers who were even on medication for depression because they were upset how their insides down below looks like. And I had children who have gone through psychiatrists, and they have come along to have it corrected as well because they think their outside looks not right. It's not pretty, it's ugly. And then recently, I had a very shocking teenager. She was about 19 years. She was abused as a child, starting from the age at home. Then she was put on to foster care. She was abused from people at the foster care by men as well as women. And gradually she kind of escaped from the foster system. And she's about 19 now. So at the moment she feels she's a man. She doesn't want to identify herself as a woman. She dresses up like a man. She trims her hair off, very short, cropped, just like a man. And she wears clothes like a man. And she goes to the marketplace to work as a man, as a porter, carrying heavy things, logs, sacks, everything. So she pretends and she perceives herself as a man. Because whatever happened in her childhood had made her confused about her own identity of gender. And she doesn't want to identify herself as a weak gender of a woman. She wants to identify herself as a man. So she is a man who's more stronger so that nobody can come and subdue her. So that was her thing. I am a man and nobody's gonna subdue myself. So these are the children that I see um, some of the days in my clinic. The days, as I told you, my gloomy days, my sad days, that makes me wonder what is happening around us. I have millions of stories like this. These are just a few I wanted you all to understand so I can put a perspective to things that I'm going to talk about. I have kids who have been coerced by people on Instagram, on Facebook, and they have taken nude photographs to show them how pretty they are, and they have been abused, and they have been put all over the internet. And some of my kids have committed suicide, some of them are depressed, some of them have done all sorts of things. So these are the things that I see on a very bad, gloomy day, apart from my happy days in the clinic. So all these are children, because we are talking about children. Children who have had either a bad past, children who have had different circumstances, so their life has changed, hence they become certain teenagers and then certain adults. So we have all these children have things in common. All the stories I've told you have little things in common. Number one, they children needs someone to listen to them. As parents, it's our duty to listen to our children, not as parents, even as teachers, as adults. When your child is talking about something, I think we have to listen. So number one is there has to be someone to listen to them. And you can see about friends. So I will talk to you one by one. So let's first talk about listening. If I say when we were growing up, we, our parents and us, or before my generation, it was a bit different. Parents are more, it was more yes sir, yes madam relationship. There was no hi mommy, how are you? Hi daddy, how are you? No. You have to be summoned to come into the parents' room. You had the restrictions of talking to your parents. You can't just talk everything to your parents. But nowadays, I think we have to change. This is not the era where we are going to be masters and we are going to be teachers and discipline our children so strictly. You need to have the relationship where your child should be able to come and talk to you about anything and everything. You should be your child's best friend, your best buddy. Starting from the time they understand what is right and wrong, from about 5 to 6 till they are teenagers, adults, and grown ups. Every story that I have told you is children who go through the changes of teenagers and to adults. 5 year olds are asking, Mommy, what is that thing on the TV? It's pads. Sanitary pads. What is it, Mommy? 5 year olds are asking, Mommy, what is that thing on the TV? It's pads. Sanitary pads. What is it, Mommy? 5 years hear words, sex, gay, lesbian. All these are things that are out there. Everything in our world, in our life is sexualized. There is no there is no advertisement on television or on billboards or on posters which is not sexualized. So everything your child hears, I would prefer my child to come and ask me. So if your child does ask you, please volunteer and explain to them. Curiosity is the other issue. They are very curious. If we don't tell them, they are going to find out. They are going to find out either through internet, either from some friends, either from somebody or the other. Because you have to understand everything in this world is one click away. One click. I mean one click. If you want food, if you want to order medicine, if you want to order any refreshment, if you want to order phone sex, if you want a woman for something, if you want a guy for something, if you want anything and everything is one click away. The word that, and everyone in your palm top, everyone has the whole world, unfortunately. When you have the palm top in your hand, the whole world, anything you click, you don't know what your child is looking. If somebody said the word sex and the child comes and asks you shush them up and said, no, we are not talking about it. It's out of bounds. It's taboo. Don't talk about it. Your child is going to find out. I would rather have you as an adult, as a parent, as a teacher to tell your child what is it that they are asking. You can tell it in subtle ways depending on how mature they are, how old they are, what they know about. So rather they go and find out. So you have to be your friend. So the children that I spoke about, the things, So if you are your child's best friend, you will tell the child will come and tell you, "Mommy, this person said this. This person tried to touch me." You teach your child what is a good touch, what is a bad touch, who's supposed to kiss your child, who's not supposed to. Because I have stories of children abused by teachers, abused by everyone. So all these are reality. So as a mother, as a parent, I would be volunteeringly telling my child this is what it means. If they come and ask you, if they come and ask you for a word, please volunteer. Tell them in a way that they find confidence in you to understand, rather than we are letting them to find out among themselves through friends, through peers, through cousins, through the internet. No, you tell them this is what it is, darling. You simply explain to them. If we don't, then there are loads of ways they will find out. You can't stop them. This is not the era where we are going to be behind them 24/7. Unfortunately, you being the best friend is the best way to move forward. If your 5 6 year old can come and tell you, "Mommy, this happened in school, this person spoke to me, this person kissed me, this person touched me," is far better. When your girls or boys, when they are teenagers, again I would think them to come and tell you, "Mommy, this happened in school, this boy brought a little cigarette and they were trying, this boy brought something and wanted me to try." So all this we should be telling our children. The world, unfortunately, is full of fitna these days. We can't. I don't know how many of you will agree with me, but I think we can't keep our children in a very closed environment, not in a glass globe, and bring them up with no insult, no interference, no nothing. I would think that as parents, I would be happy that I am telling my child smoking is bad, drinking is bad, people will come and give you things, please don't eat it, don't let anyone touch you. All these I would rather tell them, so they are well prepared for this zaman, I guess, this world. So this world is much more than we think. So we need to, at the same time, I would say parents need to know what is Facebook. Parents need to know what is Twitter, what is TikTok, what is what. Because your child is at every given moment has access to it. And unfortunately, this era that we are living in, most of the places, schools are online. Almost all the countries, all over the world. Because everything is online, your child has almost having internet every single moment from morning till afternoon when they do their classes, and then after that they do their homeworks. They are requested to watch certain videos for their classes. So every child has this. So as child, everybody is having this. So we are gonna be their best friends to tell them things will pop up in your screen, please don't look at it, it's not for you. So you need to tell these so that you can educate them. We can't stop them from having online classes, online school. That is what the era is going to be. If this COVID thing continues, we are looking at years of online lessons, years of things. It's not going to just change. So because of that, we are going to be their best friend. We are going to listen to them. That is the only way you can find, they can find confidence in us. And the other thing is, we need to teach them the things that did happen. So if you have teenage boys or girls, you volunteer them, volunteer and teach them. Year 7, my son was studying on his science thing, how menstruation happens, how masturbation happens, how ejaculation happens, how the baby comes, the stages of labor, everything in his year 7 science book. So the same thing will apply to most children in the world, most of them. We used to study that for my O levels. I don't even remember studying it as an year 7 student. So if those are the things, I would say we should be volunteering. As mommy, as daddy, it's our duty to educate your child in the way we want, according to our culture, our values, our norms, to say this is what's happening, these are things that will happen, what is menstruation. The sanitary pad ads are going on non-stop on televisions, and it's all over the place. When you go to a supermarket, it's all over, it's just everywhere. So rather you should tell them this is what's happening, because curiosity, kids are curious about things. The moment they hear living together, the moment they hear gay, lesbian, they will come and ask you, "Mommy, what is it?" Don't shun them away. Volunteer, explain to them this is haram, this is halal, this is how Islam is, this is how our values are, this is how we do, so that they don't go beyond that. So even if something comes, they know, okay, that is haram in my religion. It's not for me. But at least they know what is it about. So social media is the biggest problem. Yes, it's an inevitable devil. We can't chase it away. It's there all over. Everybody has a phone, everybody has a tab, everybody has access to internet. So we have to find ways where we are gonna parentally control. We need to have access, and we can't be 24/7 behind them. So the only thing that's gonna get you through is the trust that you and your child develops, the rapport we have, the confidence that he or she can come and ask you anything, come and tell you, mommy, this is happening, daddy, this is happening. So that rapport, that friendship has to be built from when they were small, so that we don't get into the troubles that I have been talking to you about. And about what I said about good touch and bad touch. So children that are abused, the who come across, even if they are small, to our children, we need to make them aware who is supposed to touch, who is supposed to touch where, who's supposed to kiss them, who's supposed to change their clothes. If they are in school, where would they change for swimming lessons? Is there privacy? Who is looking at them when they change clothes? Every little detail we need to know. And we need to know their peers. Half the problems I have with all the stories I told you, some of them are just peer pressure. Peer pressure where they had to go with the flow because somebody is forcing them to do. So this is where we have to instill the values in our children, to tell them, most importantly, our values, our religious values, our moral values. This is right, this is wrong. Yes, you can have friends who are smoking and drinking, but you don't do that. You have to strictly tell them this is what happens. And as I was telling you about social media, it is a daredevil, it is a known devil, but that devil is going to be inevitably in our lives all throughout. It's going to be more digitalized in another 5 to 10 years down the line. So our kids are going to be in that. So we need to teach our kids how can they be smart when it comes to this. How do they communicate with people on the social media or social networks and all that. Another thing is about how are we going to cope with stress? The kids I spoke to you about, the stress from their friends, stress from school, stress from their parents. We have to make them stronger to deal with stress in life. There's going to be more stress. Stresses where even if you have double, triple degrees in this world, you might not even find a job these days. So your stresses are going to be multitude. It's going to increase more. So we have to instill in our children how to cope stress. How are we going to cope it? How would you come out of stress? How would we do that? And again, teaching them self-respect. They need to understand, they need to love their own bodies. They need to respect their own bodies. We have to teach them what is normal for them, what is normal in their bodies. Self-image. Yes, self-image is very important. The little girls I see who come tell me, doctor, I am fat, I am ugly. But they are little tiny girls, pretty little girls, but they think because of self peer pressure, because of the portrayed media, they think what they are is not normal. So we need to instill all these. And they all are children. I will come again and again about this social media and internet access. The little boys I told you about, he has access to watching whatever he wants. Little girls have access to watching whatever they want. So we as parents, we are giving them practically devil or shaitan in their hands when they study every day. They have access to everything. So as parents, we have to be slightly shrewder and more intelligent than our children. We have to have monitoring measures. We have to have parental conditions and restrictions. Apart from that, no matter what we do, the things will always pop up. That is when the trust begins, where we had to trust our children and they had to trust us, to say if something comes, I can tell my mom, I can tell my daddy, I can ask them. And most importantly, again, the fundamental is about Islam. It's about Islam. It's about our culture, our religious values, our family values, the respect that parents should have for children and children should have for parents, as well as among their siblings. I think Almighty Allah will be the most merciful to us and our children where we can instill all this, because we are living in an era where there is very little we can change, but we can still modify and make our children's life a better future. Because the children that I spoke to you about are going to be the future generation, future teenagers, future adults, future parents themselves. So when I told about the kids' stories, they are directly affecting what they become in the future. Their personalities are defined. Their perspective in life is defined. Their perception in life is defined. Their goals in life is defined. But what happens? Their relationships, their sexual life, their intimacy, their communication, everything is depending on how they become as an adult from being a child. So our responsibility as parents, as adults, as teachers is to make their life much better. So that's why when I was, they will have more challenges, they will have more trials, they will be more fitna in this world for them than our era of life. So though my stories are all gloomy, they are children who are in need. There are the children are needy. They want to be listened. They want to be loved. They want to be protected. They should be protected. It's their right. So they have to be protected from us, from them, and from everyone else. So I think, inshallah, the most important is, as I was telling you, in the social media is always going to be there. We have to find a way to navigate our children through this without them getting inflicted or infected or insulted by it. At the same time, as adults, we are going to be their friends. We have to make sure the relationship is built, the trust is built, so they can come up with anything, even if they are small, big, or grown up. And we have to make sure who their friends are. Who are their friends? We need to know who their friends are. Who are they mingling in school, out of school? Who takes them to school, comes back from school? All these things we have to know. And at the same time, the accessibility of all these digital things in this world. If we can do, as I said, and build self confidence in them, build to respect their bodies, build and tell them what is normal. Even I have children who come and say, doctor, I am wearing bra, doctor, I my one breast is big, I don't look pretty because my friends told me so. So all these, the children have very skewed idea about what is normality, especially girls, how they look, the outside, the inside, their private parts and everything. So these are the things we are going to tell our children, because as a gynecologist, I do see all these in on and off in my day-to-day practice. And I always think this is, as parents, we need to, because I think it's very difficult for me to say. I would be happy to explain to my son what is menstruation, which is in his book, rather than he going and texting, searching in Google. At the same time, I would be happy to explain to him what is sex, how a baby comes, where it comes, rather than he's going to go and text. And as you know, the moment you put a word, there'll be millions of posts and videos and text will come, which he doesn't know how to sieve through. That is how they are sucked in. So I think we have to do that. So to prepare our children for the future, for the future generation to come, I think it's our duty that we educate our children with values. We educate our children the things that they need to know. We monitor them. We be their best friends. And most importantly, it's our religion. I'm sure, inshallah, if we can instill the values, the fear of Allah, the values of our religion, the ways of our religion, then that will give them a way forward where we can have a better future for our children. I think that is where I would want to stop. If there are any questions at all, I would be more than happy to answer. If there are I haven't moved my cursor at all. I've been going non-stop. So loads of people have given your salams. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Some of you are watching from Philippines. I'm so happy, inshallah. Um, I hope that I was able to give you some insight into um, my part of my life, which inshallah would help you with your own battles with your own children as well. One of you have asked me, are you based in Kuwait? No, I am based in Sri Lanka. I'm in Colombo at the moment. Um, and anyone else have any other questions? Inshallah, I'll be more than happy to answer. And I'm more than happy to hear your side of the stories of the similar things that I have. Anyone else who wants to ask anything? So if there are no questions, then inshallah, I hope Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help us to raise our children as better Muslims, pious Muslims, Muslims who value religion, humanity, and inshallah, Allah will help all of us, all of our children, all around the world, from all the fitnas, trials, and challenges to come out through them more successful, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.